If there was any case that is considered to be the linchpin case of American ufology, it's Roswell.
Over 4 decades ago, the UK Roswell incident shook the world when an unknown object collided with trees, leaving a trail of debris over vast fields.
Since the Roswell incident in 1947, many Americans have wondered about the dangers of unknown objects crisscrossing our skies.
Swiftly, mysterious figures swathed in black descended upon the site, erasing all traces of the event.
Roswell. Now I know your audience is going to say, Roswell's been beaten to death.
But now, groundbreaking scientific evidence has emerged, revealing that the materials from the enigmatic craft are not of this Earth. Could this be the undeniable proof of alien technology we've been searching for? Stay tuned as we uncover the truth behind one of the most compelling mysteries of our time. About 4 decades ago, in the heart of mid-Wales, near the quaint village of Clenill, a sheep farmer named Irwell Evans stumbled upon a discovery that would catapult this serene locale into the annals of UFO lore, drawing parallels to the infamous Roswell incident. This remarkable find would prove to be more than just another tale of strange lights in the sky or unverified eyewitness accounts, but serious evidence that something extraordinary had touched down, or rather crashed, into the Welsh countryside. Evans was out to check on his flock and his newly born lambs. As he crossed the frozen fields, he was stunned to see piles of metal foil, some of them honeycombed, strewn over an area the size of 3 football pitches. He also noticed that some of the branches of the trees in a nearby forest had been severed, as if something had hit them with great force. He was puzzled and disturbed by the sight, as he had not heard or seen anything unusual the night before. He wondered if the debris had fallen from a plane or a satellite, or if it was some kind of prank or hoax. He decided to call the police, who arrived shortly after and inspected the scene. They also contacted the Royal Air Force, RAF, and the Ministry of Defense, or MOD, who sent their agents to collect the debris and examine the area. While the authorities were busy gathering the debris, Irwell Evans and some of his neighbors saw something else that amazed and puzzled them. They spotted a flying craft about the size of a car hovering in the sky above the farm. It was silver in color and had a dome-shaped top and a flat bottom. It made no sound and seemed to be able to move in any direction. It also appeared to have some kind of propulsion system, as it emitted a blue flame from its rear. Evans and the others watched the craft for about 15 minutes, until it suddenly moved towards the forest, where it hit a tree and bounced off. To their astonishment, the craft did not seem to suffer any damage from the collision, and it quickly regained its stability and flew away at high speed. Evans later said that he was shocked by the sight and that he had never seen anything like it before. He also wondered if the craft was related to the debris and if it had come down the night before and then taken off again. The RAF denied having any aircraft in the air at the time of the incident, and their radar did not detect any anomaly. The MOD did not give any official explanation or statement about the nature or origin of the debris, and no records of their operation were ever made public. Irwell, a local of no particular fame until that fateful day, was traversing his usual walking path, a routine that promised solitude and the peace of nature's undisturbed beauty. However, this tranquility was shattered when he encountered an area littered with debris that was unlike anything he had ever seen. Metal fragments, peculiar in shape and material, were scattered across the ground, glinting under the sun's rays with an almost otherworldly glow. Going through the wreckage, Irwell found items that simply defied conventional explanation, materials that seemed to bend light around them, fragments with inscriptions in no known language, and components made of metals so lightweight yet unbreakable by any tools he had on hand. The sheer oddity of the debris compelled Irwell to alert local authorities, but it wasn't long before the story caught the attention of the media. As news crews descended upon Clenill, the village was thrust into the spotlight, drawing curiosity seekers, UFO enthusiasts, and skeptics alike. the debris became the subject of intense scrutiny, debate, and fascination. People asked, was it evidence of extraterrestrial visitation, a secret government project gone awry, or something else entirely? The comparison to the Roswell incident was inevitable. Much like the 1947 event in New Mexico, which remains one of the most dissected and discussed UFO occurrences in history, the Clenil discovery offered a physicality that most UFO sightings lack. Here was evidence that could be touched, analyzed, and puzzled over, fueling speculation and intrigue on a global scale. The media sensation surrounding the Clenil incident was amplified by the mystery of the debris' origin, the strange symbols found on some of the fragments, and the government's interest in the find. As the story spread, it wasn't just the tabloids that took notice. Mainstream media outlets around the world reported on the discovery, drawing comparisons to Roswell not only in terms of the potential for extraterrestrial origin, but also in the way authorities handled the situation. Reports of visits by government officials and mysterious figures asking questions and gathering the debris also added layers of conspiracy theory to the unfolding drama. The public's imagination was captivated by the idea that we might not be alone in the universe, and that evidence of alien technology had landed in the Welsh countryside. Amidst the frenzy, Evans found himself at the center of a storm of attention. From interviews on national television to documentaries and even talks of book deals, Irwell's life was turned upside down. His discovery transformed Clenil into a site of pilgrimage for those seeking answers to the age-old question of extraterrestrial life, and also placed him in the history books alongside other significant figures in UFO lore. As usual, an official explanation soon surfaced for the Welsh Roswell incident. It is based on the investigation conducted by the Ministry of Defense, or MOD, in 1974. According to the MOD, the phenomena that were observed on that night were caused by a combination of two natural events: a meteor descending through the atmosphere and an earth tremor in the Berwyn Mountains. The MOD also dismissed the claims of a UFO crash and a cover-up as unfounded and unsupported by any evidence. The MOD's investigation was triggered by a letter from Dafydd Ellis Thomas, then a local MP, who asked for clarification on the incident. The MOD consulted various sources, such as the Royal Air Force, the British Geological Survey, or BGS, the British Astronomical Association, or BAA, and the local police, to gather information and data on the incident. The MOD also reviewed the reports of eyewitnesses who described seeing a bright light in the sky, hearing a loud noise, and feeling a vibration. The MOD concluded that the bright light in the sky was most likely a meteor, also known as a fireball, that burned up and disintegrated before reaching the ground. The MOD cited the expert opinion of Dr. J.G. Porter, who conducted independent research for the BAA and found that a fireball was visible over most of the UK that night. Dr. Porter estimated that the fireball descended from about 120 kilometers in the sky to about 35 kilometers before breaking up over Manchester. The MOD also noted that there were 5 other reports of UFOs seen over the UK at about 10 p.m. that night, which could be explained by the same fireball. The MOD further concluded that the loud noise and the vibration were caused by an earth tremor in the Berwyn Mountains, which occurred at 8:32 p.m. that night. The MOD cited the data from the BGS, which recorded a magnitude 3.5 earthquake in the area, with the epicenter near Bala. The MOD also cited the report of the local police, who investigated the incident and found no signs of any impact or wreckage on the mountainside. The MOD suggested that the earthquake could have triggered a landslide, which produced noises like detonations. The MOD unsurprisingly rejected the possibility of a UFO crash and a cover-up. The MOD claimed that there was no indication of any unusual activity or presence of any foreign object in the area. The MOD also stated that there was no involvement of any military or government agency in the incident, apart from a search and rescue team from RAF Valley on Anglesey, which was scrambled as a precautionary measure, but found nothing. The MOD also stated that there was no censorship or suppression of any information or witnesses, and that the incident was treated as a routine matter. The MOD's explanation was communicated to Dafydd Ellis Thomas in a letter from Bryn Mawr John, who was then the junior RAF minister, in May 1974. The letter summarized the findings of the MOD's investigation and stated that the phenomena could well have been caused by a meteor and an earthquake. The letter also stated that the latter aspect was outside the field of the MOD, and that the incident was not of defense interest. However, not everyone was satisfied with the official explanation. In fact, leading ufologists and researchers have proposed alternative theories for the Welsh Roswell incident based on eyewitness accounts, physical evidence, and speculation. Here are some of the most popular and plausible theories. One of them, and the most sensational and widely accepted theory among UFO enthusiasts, is that it has extraterrestrial origin. It suggests that the Welsh Roswell incident was indeed a genuine crash of an alien spacecraft, and that the MOD and the RAF conspired to hide the truth from the public. This theory is based on the testimony of multiple locals who claimed that they saw a large, glowing object land on the mountain, and that they heard screams and cries coming from the crash site. Some also claimed that they saw military vehicles and personnel arrive at the scene, and that they cordoned off the area and removed the debris and the bodies. Some even claimed that they saw the alien corpses being transported in ambulances or helicopters. This theory also points to some physical evidence, such as metal fragments, radiation readings, and animal mutilations that were allegedly found in the area. This theory also invokes the Roswell incident as a precedent and suggests that the MOD and the RAF followed a similar protocol of cover-up and disinformation. Another theory has it that it was a military experiment. This is actually a more moderate and realistic theory that suggests that the Welsh Roswell incident was the result of a secret military experiment gone wrong. It proposes that the MOD and the RAF were testing some advanced technology, such as a stealth aircraft, a missile, or a satellite, and that it malfunctioned and crashed on the mountain. This theory is based on the fact that the incident occurred near a military base and a radar station, and that there were reports of military activity and interference in the area. This theory also explains the presence of the military and the cordoning off of the area as part of the damage control and the recovery of the classified material. This theory also accounts for some of the strange phenomena, such as the lights, noises, and creatures, as the effects of the experiment or the psychological manipulation of the witnesses. You also have the natural phenomenon theory, which actually supports the official explanation of the MOD. It claims that the Welsh Roswell incident was nothing more than a natural phenomenon, and that there was no UFO or alien involvement. It accepts that the incident was caused by a meteor and an earthquake, and that they coincided by chance. It also dismisses the eyewitness accounts as unreliable, exaggerated, or influenced by the media and the UFO culture. It also rejects the physical evidence as irrelevant, fabricated, or misinterpreted. It also explains the military presence and the cordoning off of the area as routine procedures or coincidences. One of the first people to investigate the incident was Scott L. Felton, a local UFO researcher and author. He has been fascinated by the Welsh Roswell since he was a teenager and has spent decades collecting evidence, interviewing witnesses, and challenging official explanations. He is convinced that something extraordinary happened that night, and that the authorities have been covering it up ever since. Felton has written several books and articles on the Welsh Roswell, such as the Berwyn Mountain UFO Incident and the Berwyn Mountain UFO, A Case for Critical Analysis. He has also appeared in documentaries and radio shows, such as Inside the Small Welsh Town, home to the UK's wildest UFO conspiracy, and the Berwyn Mountain UFO by George Dudding. Felton's investigation has revealed many intriguing details and anomalies about the Welsh Roswell, such as the presence of military vehicles and personnel in the area who allegedly cordoned off the crash site and removed debris and bodies. The reports of strange creatures and humanoid figures seen by some witnesses, who described them as having large heads, slanted eyes, and silver suits. The accounts of missing time and memory loss experienced by some witnesses who claimed they were hypnotized or interrogated by mysterious men in black. The evidence of radiation and magnetic anomalies in the area, which suggested a high-energy impact or explosion. The discrepancies and contradictions in the official statements and documents, which dismissed the incident as a combination of an earthquake and a meteor shower. Felton believes that the Welsh Roswell was a genuine extraterrestrial event, and that the government has been hiding the truth from the public for decades. He thinks that the incident was part of a larger phenomenon of UFO activity and contact in the UK, and that it has profound implications for our understanding of the universe and ourselves. Felton's investigation is not without its critics, however. Some of his claims and sources have been challenged by other researchers and skeptics who have offered alternative explanations and interpretations of the Welsh Roswell. Another of the most persistent and passionate researchers of the Welsh Roswell incident is Andy Roberts, a journalist and author who has written several books and articles on the topic. He first became interested in the case in 1977 when he read a newspaper article that mentioned the incident. He was intrigued by the mystery and decided to investigate it further. He interviewed many eyewitnesses, visited the site, and examined the available evidence. He also obtained official documents from the MOD, the British Geological Survey, and other sources. Roberts's investigation revealed that the Welsh Roswell incident was not as simple as the official story suggested. He found out that there were many inconsistencies, contradictions, and gaps in the official accounts. He also discovered that there were several other UFO sightings and strange phenomena reported in the area before and after the incident. He argued that the Welsh Roswell incident was part of a larger pattern of UFO activity in the region, and that there was a possibility of a military or intelligence involvement. Roberts' investigation also challenged some of the popular myths and legends that had emerged around the Welsh Roswell incident. He debunked the claims that the MOD had cordoned off the area, that the RAF had recovered a crashed saucer, and that the aliens had been taken to a secret base. He also questioned the reliability and credibility of some of the eyewitnesses who had changed or embellished their stories over time. He suggested that some of the witnesses had been influenced by the media, the folklore, or their own imagination. While it might be true that Roberts' investigation did not provide a definitive answer to the Welsh Roswell incident, it did offer a more balanced and nuanced perspective. He did not dismiss the possibility of a UFO involvement, but he also did not accept it uncritically. He acknowledged that the Welsh Roswell incident was a complex and fascinating case that had many layers and dimensions. He also recognized that the Welsh Roswell incident was more than just a UFO case, but also a cultural and historical phenomenon that had captured the imagination and curiosity of many people. Another dedicated investigator is Russ Kellett, a UFO researcher and author who has been studying the case for almost 30 years. Kellett claims to have uncovered damning evidence of a cover-up by the authorities and to have traced the flight path of the alleged UFO and its occupants. He has also collected testimonies from various witnesses, including a sheep farmer named Irwell Evans, who reported the incident to the police. According to Kellett, Evans was not the only witness to see the UFO and its occupants. Kellett claims that 5 other men who were returning from a club also came across the scene and were confronted by soldiers who arrived shortly after. The soldiers ordered the men to leave and confiscated their cameras. Kellett says that he has spoken to one of the men who confirmed his story. Kellett also says that he has obtained documents from the night of the incident, which contain reports of UFOs and explosions from various sources, including the police, the military, and the Meteorological Office. Kellett believes that the UFO was part of a larger fleet of alien spacecraft that were flying over the UK that night, and that some of them crashed due to unknown reasons. He says that he has mapped the flight path of the UFO that landed in the Berwyn Mountains, and that it came from the direction of Liverpool, where another UFO was seen earlier. He also says that he has located the secret military facilities where the UFO and its occupants were taken, and that they are in North Wales and Shropshire. Kellett has published his findings and theories in a book titled Alien Invasion Wales, The Berwyn Mountain UFO Cover-Up. He says that his book is the result of years of research and investigation, and that he has risked his life and reputation to expose the truth. He hopes that his book will shed new light on the Welsh Roswell incident, and that it will inspire more people to come forward with their own experiences and evidence. He also hopes that one day the authorities will admit what really happened on that night, and that the public will learn the true nature and origin of the visitors from outer space. But by far one of the most compelling pieces of evidence for the alien hypothesis is the nature of the debris that was found at the crash site. The debris consisted of 6 metal pieces and 2 fragments that resembled a type of aluminum sheet. However, upon closer examination, the metal was found to be unlike any known material on Earth. It was extremely light, flexible, and resistant to heat and corrosion. It also had a peculiar property. It emitted a faint blue glow when exposed to ultraviolet light. The most intriguing aspect of the metal was its chemical composition. It contained a high amount of lanthanum, a rare earth element that is not normally found in nature. Lanthanum is used in various high-tech applications, such as lasers, batteries, and catalysts. It is also a key ingredient in the production of mischmetal, a pyrophoric alloy that ignites spontaneously in the air. Could this metal have been part of an alien spacecraft, powered by some advanced form of energy? To answer this question, 2 independent scientific investigations were conducted on the metal samples by different laboratories. The first one was done by Gary Rowe, a local UFO researcher who collected the debris from the crash site. He sent the samples to a laboratory in London where they were analyzed by a technique called X-ray fluorescence, or XRF. This method uses X-rays to excite the atoms in a material and measure the characteristic radiation they emit. The results showed that the metal contained 66% lanthanum, 18% iron, 8% nickel, and traces of other elements. The second investigation was done by Mark Ollie, a historian and filmmaker who made a documentary about the Welsh Roswell. He obtained some of the samples from Rowe and sent them to a laboratory in Manchester, where they were analyzed by a technique called inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometry, or ICP-MS. This method uses a plasma torch to vaporize the material and separate the ions by their mass-to-charge ratio. The results showed that the metal contained 90% lanthanum, 6% iron, 2% nickel, and traces of other elements. The 2 investigations, although using different methods, agreed on the main finding. The metal was predominantly composed of lanthanum. This was a remarkable discovery, as lanthanum is very rare and expensive to obtain. It is also very difficult to work with, as it reacts violently with water and oxygen. So, how did such a large amount of lanthanum end up in the Welsh countryside? And why was it in the form of a flexible and glowing metal? One possible explanation is that the metal was part of an alien spacecraft that crashed. The spacecraft could have used lanthanum as a source of energy, either as a fuel or as a component of a nuclear reactor. Lanthanum has some unique properties that make it suitable for such purposes. For instance, it has a high neutron absorption cross-section, which means it can capture neutrons and reduce the risk of a nuclear meltdown. It also has a high specific heat capacity, which means it can store a lot of thermal energy. Moreover, it has a low work function, which means it can easily emit electrons and generate electricity. The metal could have been a part of the spacecraft's hull, engine, or power system, It could have been designed to be flexible and resilient to withstand the stresses of interstellar travel. It could have also been designed to glow in the dark, to provide illumination or communication. The metal could have been damaged by the impact with the trees and the ground, causing it to lose some of its properties and leak some of its contents. This could explain why some of the samples had different compositions and why some of them were radioactive. The Welsh Roswell is one of the most intriguing and mysterious UFO cases in history. It offers a rare opportunity to study physical evidence of a possible alien encounter. The metal debris that was found at the crash site is unlike anything ever seen before. It contains a high amount of lanthanum, a rare earth element that has many applications in science and technology. It also has some unusual characteristics, such as flexibility, glow, and radioactivity. Could this metal have been part of an alien spacecraft, powered by some advanced form of energy? The answer may lie in the lanthanum,